Hello and welcome once again to Red Gaming Tech. My name is Amata. Today is the 2nd of July and thankfully it has cooled down significantly here in the UK. It is still hot, but nowhere near as suffocatingly hot as it was yesterday, which just pleases me greatly. Back on topic though, I have some interesting news regarding Uncharted 4, as Naughty Dog have gone on record to confirm both the single player and multiplayer frame rate and resolution for the title. Now, unsurprisingly, for the single player portion of the game, Uncharted 4 will be running at 1080p and of course 30 frames per second. But what do they actually have to say regarding this? Well, the co-lead designer Anthony Newman said, quote, "We had a really long, involved conversation about it with all the leads and directors. We just realised that for the game we wanted to make the best game possible, 30 FPS was just something we had to do. If we wanted to hit a locked 60 FPS, there's a lot of optimizations in the environments that would have to happen. This will make each level take longer to make. The same amount of geometry would take longer to make because it would have to be so heavily optimized, and so that could end up having story repercussions. We want to have this scene, but we don't have time to make the environment. It's a feature like any other, and you have to consider it against everything else." As for the multiplayer, however, they are targeting 60 FPS, and photo mode, which has been added to most of Sony's first-party games, will also be a feature in Uncharted 4 as well. Now, I don't think this is really a surprise. 30 FPS for single-player sections is pretty much common now on both next-gen consoles. For the multiplayer, obviously, the environments are just not going to be as large. There's not going to be any NPCs, for example, most likely. Of course, I could be talking at my arse with that one, but I think it's pretty fair to assume that there won't be any NPCs in the multiplayer, or there'll be very few in comparison to the amount that we saw in the single-player demo at E3. So, obviously, there's just less to render when it comes to the multiplayer. And of course Uncharted is about the big set pieces in the single player. So unfortunately the hardware is what the hardware is, and if the story or gameplay or actual game would suffer, then of course Naughty Dog do know what they're doing. I wish we could have solid 60 and not have to sacrifice graphics, but unfortunately just not possible, at least without a concession on the graphical side of things, which I don't think is the end of the world. Some of the best games I've played in recent years have been indie games with interesting art styles or whatever, but obviously for a big AAA developer, that's not something they can really do, or not willing to do at least. Anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts, but thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.